have avoided us the damage that we have suffered here over the last 3 years. We cannot stay home this Saturday. This election is on a knife edge. The polls show us that the blocs of those who support National, and there's a big bloc of National people there, and the combined parties who want to change the government are equally matched. And every single vote is going to count on Saturday, and it's vitally important that we exercise our right to be involved in our democracy. I believe that one of the key issues in this election is the integrity of our political leadership itself. There are huge numbers of important policies, and you've heard many of those today, and there is a lot of common ground between Labor and the Greens and InternetMana. But we also have to think about the kind of reasons why our government has been acting in a way that represents not your interests, not the interests of the overwhelming majority of New Zealanders, but is playing to the tunes of other people. Just up there in Sky City last year, the government signed a contract with a big corporate Sky City that agreed to undermine our gambling laws. All the good work done in Auckland over the past few years to reduce the number of pokie machines, which are predators on our South Auckland and West Auckland and other low-income communities, all that work was done by a signature between John Key and the Chief Executive of Sky City, which gave away our right to regulate gambling in the public interest. We have got to change that kind of government. Over the last few days, we have heard about the lies that have been told to New Zealanders about the operations of our security agencies. Now, I'm talking here to people at the core of the trade union movement. Throughout history, the state and its security apparatus has been used to try and stop people like you winning your battles. The reason why they want to get everything that we put on the internet, every single one of our private communications, has nothing to do with protecting us from international terrorist threats. This is not an agenda since 9/11. This has been an agenda for 200 years, where the state tries to find out as much information as it can about its citizens, because that is the way that they stop us organising or wanting to be active and to be part of political change. Make no mistake about it, whatever the Prime Minister's spin is on the information that we have heard over the last week, the purpose of this kind of mass surveillance of New Zealanders is to make you feel powerless and to make those who stand up and lead movements like trade unions. I'll bet my bottom dollar that Maxine Gay, Robert Reid and Helen Kelly have all been illegally spied on by the GCSB. We know that 88 New Zealanders were admitted to being illegally spied on by John Key, and they do not even know who they are, but I'll bet my bottom dollar that 3 of them are on this platform. And the reason they're on this, that they are being spied on, is not because they are a terrorist threat, but because they are a threat to the wealth and the power of people who want to hold on to it. They are a threat because you are a threat. By organising, by standing up for your rights, by being active in your union and in our democracy, you threaten the powers that be. So don't feel afraid. Do not feel afraid to assert your democratic rights. You have a right to a living wage. You have a right to tea breaks. You have a right to a decent, dry, safe home. And so do your kids. You have a right to a free tertiary education, and InternetMana is making that a priority in this election campaign, because every single Minister of Education who has charged our kids for their education got a free education at the behest of the taxpayers. What are the National Party promising? The National Party are promising in 2017 $1.5 billion worth of tax cuts. Do you know how much free tertiary education would cost? $1.1 billion. This election is not about whether we can afford social justice, afford good wages or not. This election is about priorities, it's about leadership, it's about honesty, and in order to deliver that kind of government, you need to give your party vote to one of the parties on this platform. I pledge to you that if you give me the party vote for InternetMana, I am going to be part of a brave and smart team of people who are going to make sure that whatever government is elected on Saturday is accountable to your interests and to the interests of all New Zealanders. Kia kaha.